Mark Savard came in here as the new assistant coach for the Flames, and the power play has been absolutely dreadful. I think they're down around 11%. They had a power play with a chance to win the game late against Vegas, half of it overlapping into overtime where it's a 4-on-3. They couldn't score there. It's been awful. And I don't think anyone's pointing the finger at Mark Savard, but they're also looking at the personnel. Like, you're back there as a goalie. What are you seeing? What makes a successful power play? And are there right ingredients here for Mark Savard to get this thing closer to 20, not 10%?
There are ingredients. Obviously, power plays are so unique because you have to have the entry. So we're seeing the double drop back now. With speed, you go to 2-on-1, a guy at the blue line, you get the clean entry. So now teams are trying to disrupt that drop off. So if you get a team that's really good on the kill and you disrupt that drop back, that kills 10, 20, 30 seconds off the kill. So right there, that's something that teams are picking up and learning and coaching into that drop back position. Once you get set up, I still believe it's about motion and creativity. Like a lot of the power plays and the way they kill, it's a box or it's a diamond. And then you give up the half wall, you give up down low, a jam play. Basically, it's an umbrella. You got a guy who drives the bus from the top of the umbrella, and you've got two guys on the flank, maybe a bumper position. So there's lots of options. But the creativity is what's important. It's tough to defend. And what I mean by that is the reason why the Edmonton Oilers, their power play was the greatest last year in the history of the game, as far as statistically, since they've been tracking it, is because you can have all the setup in the world, all the preparation, but 97 starts to circle the wagons and open up seams. And not only are you trying to defend a guy who had 60 goals, but he also can pass to Draisaitl, who's not in a traditional backdoor seam play. He's scoring from the goal line.
Yeah.
That's, he's got that angle. So I look at creativity, and you have to have the personnel. Yes, nobody's got McDavid and Draisaitl there, but you do have guys that are good shooters. Lindholm's a good shooter. So do you put him in the bumper position, or do you put him on the half wall in a one-time position? Those are the things. And I would ask this, and I'll put it back to you guys. Who's driving the bus from the back end? Who's the Quinn Hughes? Who's the Evan Bouchard? Who's the guy who walks the line with tremendous poise and makes a play instead of force feeding it? I don't know how many times we've seen defensemen in the league, and I won't point them out. I'll just point out an example. A defenseman go, hey, I'm a left-handed shot. I'm going to look over there and pass it there. Like, it's so predictable.
Yeah.
Where I want, like, as a goaltender, when you're back there, the worst thing to defend, or the toughest thing to defend, is unpredictability. If I know it's going half wall back for a one-timer at the point, and our D are going to try and box out, good. I'm going to try and front that shot. Or we give up the least path of resistance down on the half wall. Everyone takes away a back door. I front the puck on the goal line if the guy wants to walk out. There's roles and everybody plays them. So for me, I would say creativity, but you have to have somebody back there, whether that's Hanifin, whether that's Zadorov, like who's been the guy back there that, I guess Anderson, Rasmus Anderson's got a good shot. He's got good creativity and pretty good patience, but you need somebody that kind of controls everything. And he's the guy who's got the vision from back there that can go, I can distribute it over there and it can work its way down. But we haven't seen that chemistry yet. And that's why they're hovering just over 10%. I think you mentioned it's like 11%.
Yeah, it's gross. Well, and the interesting thing here is, like, the contractual status of Hanifin. All of a sudden, he's power play one guy. I went, it's never been that in his career with any success. And now here he is having a great year, but that's not who he is. He's not a power play quarterback when he gets traded to a contender, theoretically. Rasmus Anderson's not even on the second year. They got Uyghur there. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
I wonder how much this is let's pump up the stock of this guy before we trade him versus using your best pieces there. Because I think Anderson's a better power play guy than Hanifin.
Yeah, I actually forgot about Uyghur, who has a good shot and has some creativity to his game. But yeah, Hanifin is kind of the guy I was talking about, like very robotic, very predictable. That's not a bad thing. It's just when you're dealing with really high-end, potent power plays, Hedman walks the line, Sergachev walks the line, Adam Fox, Carlson. Obviously, I'm talking about number one defensemen who drive the bus from back there. Hanifin's not that. If anything, he's a good skater, really, I would say average and respectfully as far as distributing the puck and hockey sense. I think he's a guy who's gotten by on being a really good skater and he competes hard, but a little bit reminds me, and you guys, this is more my era, but Jay Bouwmeester. Jay Bouwmeester, really good skater. I think he had 15 goals on the power play in Florida before he came to Calgary. But that power play was centered around him walking down the middle and Stephen Weiss hitting him. So that was kind of a designed play that got him some goals. He gets to Calgary. I think we put him in front of the net. That's really, I think we had him in kind of miscast there because he wasn't a fit on our power play, back then. So it might be a pumping up of the situation for Hanifin, but I want my most creative guys on the power play because you've got space out there. You got to do something with it.
Yeah. And it's obviously it's a little bit of both. I think that you don't have a lot of high octane scorers, obviously, on this team. There's not a lot of one shot scorers.
Right.
And then on the back end, you don't really have, Anderson is probably at this point, maybe it's bigger. Anderson's probably the closest, but you wouldn't look around the league and say that he's a power play quarterback. He's just the best of the group that they have here right now. Yeah. So without a high end quarterback and then a lack of finishing, that's how you get to 11%, I suppose. And I mean, they much like with the line combos, they've tried everything. They've cycled all those D through at one time or another. And still they're going games at a time without a power play goal.
Elephant in the room, you got a guy making $10.5 million who probably should be running your power play, right? This is, he's known as a great puck distributor. He's known as a guy who's supposed to make his line mates better, that type of stuff. I mean, I'm not here to kick him in the junk every week, but it seems like his name comes across our desks, right? Because you just want a little bit more. You want him, for that price tag to prop up the players you play with. So you're right. If you have, we'll call it average puck handling from the back end, well, then you better have somebody elite on the flank or somebody elite somewhere else on that power play that goes, okay, it's going to run through me. Because I would argue it ran through Johnny Gaudreau, right? Like Johnny was a guy that was able to be creative, was able to push people back. It's so funny. Johnny's 100 pounds soaking wet, but he could shoot the puck. Like he had that whippy stick and he had that top shelf shot that he would establish if you started to sleep on him a bit. So he'd establish the shot, then he'd start to look around for options. And then it's Lindholm in the bumper position or Lindholm in a one-timer position. So, you come back to it. If you've got creative guys, well, he's supposed to be one of your most creative, the guy who got 115 points 2 years ago. So, you need more from him if you're going to give him. If that's supposed to be his wheelhouse, then he's got to be the guy who go out there and earn it and be a difference maker where he shouldn't be sitting where the three of us are sitting with a minute and a half left in the game and they've got six other guys out there trying to tie the game.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.